What actually keeps a marriage strong? Most marriages don't fall apart because of one forgotten anniversary or one argument about dirty dishes. Relationships usually change much more quietly. A conversation you stopped having, a kiss goodbye that disappeared, dinner together becomes dinner while looking at separate phones. You stop asking how the other person is doing because you assume you already know. Nothing dramatic happened. But somewhere between work, bills, children, responsibilities, and exhaustion, two people who once couldn't stop talking can slowly become excellent roommates. So, what actually keeps a marriage strong? It isn't never arguing, it isn't expensive vacations, and it certainly isn't feeling passionately in love every second of every day. Strong relationships are often built through much smaller decisions. Learn how to disagree without attacking the person. Every couple disagrees. The important question isn't whether you fight, it's how you fight. There's a huge difference between "I'm frustrated because I feel like I'm handling this alone" and "you're selfish, you never help me." One describes a problem, the other attacks someone's character. When disagreements become filled with insults, humiliation, threats, or contempt, the original problem often disappears and the relationship itself becomes the battlefield. Try fighting against the problem instead of fighting against each other. Ask, what are we actually trying to solve? That one question can completely change a conversation. Stop keeping score. Marriage can become exhausting when everything becomes accounting. I cooked 3 times. You only cooked once. I called your family. You didn't call mine. I initiated affection last time. Now it's your turn. Of course, responsibility should be reasonably fair. One person shouldn't carry everything indefinitely. But constantly keeping score can transform acts of love into transactions. Sometimes the better question isn't, "Did they do enough for me today?" It's, "What does our relationship need from us today?" Don't let your partner receive what's left of you. Think about something uncomfortable. Sometimes we're incredibly patient with coworkers, customers, and strangers. We smile, we say, "Please," we apologize, we control our tone. Then we come home exhausted and give the person we love the least patient version of ourselves. Home should be where we can relax, but comfort shouldn't become permission to stop being kind. Your spouse shouldn't always receive whatever energy remains after everyone else has received your best. Small things matter. Say good morning. Say thank you. Kiss each other goodbye. Ask about their day and actually listen. Touch their shoulder while walking past. Tell them when they look good. None of these things seem revolutionary. That's exactly why they're easy to stop doing. Protect the relationship after children arrive. Children can bring enormous joy into a family. They can also consume enormous amounts of time and energy. Suddenly, conversations revolve around school, appointments, meals, homework, and who's picking someone up. Mom and dad become incredible partners in running a household, but sometimes forget they were a couple before they became a parenting team. Protecting your marriage doesn't mean loving your children less. It means remembering that the relationship between the adults also needs attention. You don't necessarily need expensive date nights. Sit outside together after the children sleep. Drink coffee together before the house wakes up. Take a walk. Watch something together without both scrolling through your phones. Even 20 intentional minutes can say, "We're still here." Talk about money before money talks for you. Money is rarely just numbers. It can represent security, freedom, fear, control, sacrifice, or dreams. That's why financial disagreements can become deeply emotional. Instead of only discussing money when something goes wrong, couples should talk about it regularly. What are we saving for? What worries you financially? What are our priorities? What can we realistically afford? What does financial security mean to each of us? The goal isn't necessarily having identical spending personalities. It's making sure you're building the same life. Don't stop being curious about the person you married. People change. The person beside you today isn't exactly the person you married years ago. Neither are you. That's not necessarily a problem. It can actually be beautiful. But it means we shouldn't assume we already know everything about our partner. Ask questions again. What are you excited about lately? Is there something you wish we did more together? What's been stressing you that I haven't noticed? What do you want the next few years of our life to look like? You might be surprised by the answers. Repair after an argument. One of the biggest relationship skills isn't avoiding every conflict, it's knowing how to come back together afterward. Sometimes that means saying, I still disagree, but I shouldn't have spoken to you that way. Or, I understand what you were trying to tell me now. Or simply, can we start this conversation again? Pride can make us wait for the other person to move first. But marriage isn't a competition where the person who apologizes first loses. Sometimes the strongest person in the room is simply the one willing to stop the distance from growing. Remember that love is also something you practice. Feelings naturally fluctuate. There will be seasons where everything feels exciting. There will also be seasons of exhaustion, stress, grief, financial pressure, parenting, and routine. A lasting relationship cannot depend entirely on whether today feels romantic. Sometimes love looks like passion. Sometimes it looks like sitting beside someone in a hospital waiting room. Sometimes it's making coffee. Sometimes it's listening to the same worry for the 10th time. Sometimes it's choosing kindness during a disagreement. And sometimes it's simply looking across a room at the person you've built a life with and remembering, we are on the same team. Maybe strong marriages aren't created by finding two perfect people. Maybe they're created when two imperfect people keep learning how to find each other again through all the different versions of life. Because years from now, you probably won't remember every dinner you cooked or every bill you paid, but you will remember how home felt. You will remember whether you felt respected, whether you laughed, whether someone listened, whether affection survived the busy years, and whether, after everything life placed between you, you continued choosing each other.